I think what sums it up very well is when Marillion recently they put the latest album for free on the internet. It was this article on the website of the BBC, and someone said, we have to accept, and that was the final phrase of the article, we have to accept that creative people need to be paid for their work.
Yes.
And I think that kind of sums it up.
Well, it does, yeah. I mean, the problem is you know, you're going to get so many different arguments about, I mean, people will say, you know, well, downloading's here to stay, and the musicians will always create music, and of course they will, but the effects of downloading haven't really hit yet. It's like a tsunami. It hasn't really, I mean, I've heard people argue with me, you know, say, well, you must find other ways, you know, and I say, what
Which
other ways? And they say, well, you must tour more, or sell more merchandise on tour. And I say, well, how many concerts have you done this year? 3. How many t-shirts did you sell? 20. Say, you're not going to make a living from doing that. The reality is a totally different beast, and people that say this have no experience really of what a touring working band really is. There just aren't enough people. I mean, for a band like Pendragon, we're trying to build up a following, you know, we try and sell as many t-shirts as we can. We come up with loads of new ideas. I mean, this is a 30-day tour. It's the biggest tour we've ever done. We bought a new album at the same time as touring. Before this tour, we did a 2-day thing where we played 4 hours of songs.
Riffs.
Yeah, riffs, that's right. People from all over the world came, and the ticket price was £40, so you know, these are good new ideas. So we're thinking of ideas, but the question is, will those be enough? You know, if you're kind of a little bit bigger like Marillion, you can have a convention, yeah, you can make some good money and living from doing that, but if you're smaller than that, you're going to really struggle. And the effect of it hasn't really hit the general public, or it hasn't hit the bands yet, you know, but I think over the next few years, if it continues like this, you know, it will affect things.
Yeah, I think probably it's maybe, because there's a whole interview in itself.
It is, yeah.
But I think that's probably because people have a very naive point of view about the whole thing, because they say, okay, CDs are this much expensive, but half of the price is because of the distributor, or goes to the record company, and I say, yeah, but for a concert, the promoter has to take also part of the money. It's not like you earn 100% of the ticket.
That. I mean, to be honest, if you take a t-shirt, right, if you sell a t-shirt, on our last tour, to give you an idea, we sold £17,000 worth of merchandise, which sounds like a lot, okay? To make t-shirts was £7,000. You have to take a local tax out, VAT, I don't know what you call it, but IVA,
yeah.
I think, yeah, that's about £2,500. You've got to pay the person who makes the t-shirt, who sells the t-shirt, £1,000. So out of £17,000, you'll be very lucky if you come back with £7,000. Then you've got income tax, on top of that's another 25%. You know, it really is not what people think it is. That's why some people like Madonna put t-shirts up to £35, because you know they can sell a lot at a high price, and you know their profit margin is much bigger. You know, people don't understand the nuts and bolts of how this all goes together. I mean, they think that, you know, Pendragon just earn money from music. They don't really know how that happens, but you know, with a band like us, it is predominantly through our record sales. And you know, I'm trying to let people know, if they get something from the music, they have an obligation to put something. This is not a one-way street. I mean, you can't go into a baker's shop and just say, well, you know, your bread's too expensive, so I'm going to have it for free. You know, and people do complain about the price of CDs, but you know, of course, that's the easy option. But really, I mean, in the UK, for sure, we know this, the expensive things are petrol. You know, you take insurance, your car insurance. I mean, what do you get for that? Nothing, you know. You're lucky even if you have a car crash, you're lucky if you can get your money at all, because they will argue with you. You know, we have motorway services, where just to buy a coffee is £2, you know, and it's shit coffee. You know, these are the things that are ripping us off. And CDs, you know, our CD is £15, and that's a CD, a DVD, in a really nice book. You know, I can't believe that people say that's too expensive.
Yeah. Talking about the positive side of technology, I've seen your videos on the Affinities website.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you recording at home. Do you think that if it wasn't for Pro Tools, because I think you are using a DG001?
Yeah, I am,
Pro Tools home systems.
Yeah.
Do you think if it wasn't for that kind of technology, for bands like yours, like you're saying in the middle, would be much harder to survive?
It would be game over. You couldn't do it. The great thing about Pro Tools is that obviously Peter can record his bass at home, I can record the guitars and the vocals at home in a very kind of relaxed way. If you had to go into a studio to pay for those things, you'd be talking about £20,000, you know, and the record sales against what it costs you just lose money. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it at all. The only thing we pay for studio-wise is Carl Groom records the drums at his place and does all the mixing as well. So, you know, that's the only little bit that we pay for. Yeah, without Pro Tools, it would be very hard.
Talking about drummers, you have been through a bit of a revolving drummer. The 3 last albums with 3 different drummers.
Yeah.
Is because maybe it's already very hard to keep a drummer and it's twice as harder to keep a drummer in a progressive rock band? Or?
No, not really. I mean, the difficulty is it's usually far more exterior reasons. I mean, you know, Fudge, who was with us for 20 years, it's just life. I mean, life kind of goes in circles. People think that, you know, we sort of live and breathe music all the time, but, you know, there are other influences on our lives that change what we do. I mean, Fudge became more and more business interested, and more than doing music. So, you know, he kind of got less and less interested in, you know, staying up late and doing gigs and going, you know, to the studios and rehearsing and learning music. You know, there's a lot of work involved in all that. You don't get paid for it. You know, you rehearse, no one's paying you. So I think, you know, he got sort of a little bit fed up with putting all his energy into doing that. So, you know, that's really where he started to go into a different direction. Joe was only with us for a couple of years, you know, and he got offered a lot more live work with Wishbone Ash. So, you know, drummers tend to go where the money is. So he kind of went to where he could do more shows, which makes sense really. But Scotty is, he wants to be part of something, and that's very clear. I mean, you'll see that when we play live, you know, it's very much kind of, he's not just a session guy at the back who's tapping away. He is putting 110% into that show, and you know, I really hope that, you know, this can work out now with Scotty, because he's the best drummer we've ever had. You know, he's brought new energy, new life to the whole thing. It's very exciting.